Hello and welcome to the next lesson. In this lesson we're going to be working with the nonlinear action editor, and that's really similar to the action editor. Well, it's not really similar, it's actually quite a bit different, but they work well together. And what makes them different is when, like right now, we're in the action editor over here. Let me go ahead and change that to out of the pose library so we can actually see one of our actions that we created. Let's go ahead and just click on fly to sit. And right now, in this action editor, you see each individual bone of our rig there and its different keyframes. And this is all editable in here. Well, the nonlinear action editor, let's go ahead and jump over there. And where that is you just click on there and you want to go NLA editor. That's nonlinear action editor. And when you open that up, we had the fly to sit action already loaded, so it's kind of preloads that in here. But if we want to edit it non-linearly, in the non-linear fashion, it becomes like a video editor. Like if you've ever used Adobe Premiere, Avid, or Final Cut Pro, any of those, you know that when you're editing video, you can have different layers of video. And that's kind of how this works. It works with different layers of action strips. Now, to be able to work with that, you got to click on the little snowflake icon right there, and you can see once you click there, it starts loading our actions in as like a video clip type of thing, except it's an action clip, it's action strip. So now, in order to kind of see what's going on with this action strip, just hit N to open up the properties, and let's go ahead and make that window quite a bit bigger. And over here you can kind of see a few things about our action strip. You can see the name of it, fly to sit, right there, and it's indicating that it's an action clip. And it's extending from frame 1 to frame 20. That's the extent of our action. The first keyframe is on frame 1, the last keyframe is on frame 20. Now you can edit these, but it's really not necessary because the actual controls lie down here. So you can see a few more things. The extrapolation. We expand this window out a little bit more. You can see the whole word instead of it just cutting it out. What that is like this tells Blender what to do with this action strip after it's done its action. After it's gone from frame 1 to frame 20, there's no more keyframes in there. What should it do? Well, extrapolation hold is telling it just to do that. Once, let's go ahead and clear out the toolbar over here so we can see what we're doing. Once we get to frame 20, there's no more keyframes. It's going to hold that last keyframe, and it's going to hold it forever until the end of the actual video clip. So there's a few more options. You can say hold forward. Well, hold right now, actually, it's if you have only this one action. Let's move it over here. It's holding that very first frame of action. You can see now it's extending from 71 to 90 since that's where I moved it to. But anyways, that first frame, he's in this flight pose there. It's holding everything before that up into that first frame, and then he does his action, and then boom, it holds that last frame. Now, you can have it say only hold forward, where it doesn't do anything before that. Right now it's the only action loaded in here, so excuse me, of course he's going to have that that pose first, but say we clear all that out, Alt-R, Alt-G, clear those out, it's not going to show that first frame until we actually get to that action, and then boom, he goes into it. Okay. Now the blending, these aren't real necessary. It kind of just, if you have two clips, let's go ahead and add another clip. Let's go add action strip. There we go. And right now, fly to sit is typed into the search bar, so it's the only one it's showing. So just hit delete, and let's go ahead and just load that seated position there. And you see it loads it onto another layer, a non-linear. It's not one line, it's two lines. So instead of being one line linear, it's one line non-linear. So it's two different lines there. You can go in here and you can edit the names of these tracks if you want. Say this is fly to sit, and this one is seated position. There we go. And you can kind of judge what they are here instead of having to look here, because you can put more than one action strip into one track there. But anyway, so what the blending does is it kind of works the way a video clip will fade in and fade out. Like if you have like say a video that's, you know, soft music and it's a gentle fade from like a dog running in slow motion down the beach, fading to the water crashing on the shore, something like that. It's just a transition, and that's kind of what this does. If you zoom in real close, you can see some gray lines there because right now we have auto blend in and out turned on. And it'll go, since there's only one frame there, you're not going to see a lot of difference. So let's actually grab one of these and move them over there. Boom, and now you can see those gray lines expanded out. So now he's sitting down and he gradually goes into that flying position. But since the flying position is starting off flying and then going to sitting, he doesn't do a lot of difference there. But anyways, that's what the blending does. You can turn that off if you like, and then just do it all manually. So you don't want it to blend in at all, and you don't want this one to blend out at all. Boom, it doesn't. Let's move that out so we can see a little better. Okay, another thing, like I said earlier, the extrapolation for hold, this is turned on to hold. So even though this clip is loaded after it, it's only going to show it if we have either the blend turned on. I guess it's not going to show it now, so I zeroed it out earlier. But since it's set to hold, it's going to keep that last frame of that particular clip because it kind of reads from the top down, like say you're looking down at it, it's going to see this one first and then this one. And since this one is set to hold, it's not going to see this one. So what we need to do now is go ahead and turn that to nothing. And you can see now, boom, he goes into the other pose. So if you want to set it to manual blend out, you can just move that. You can see the gray line appearing there as we're moving the slider. There we go. There we go. And now it's the gentle fade in there. So like I said, you want to add two different poses together, like walking and chewing gum. The way that could work is, say this one is walking, this one is chewing gum. Well, you might be saying, well, this one's on top of this one, it's not going to see this one at all since this one's above there. Well, that's not necessarily the case. The way these work is the actions in this strip are, say they're only walking, they're only controlling his legs and his arms and his body, and they're taking priority there. Now this action is only controlling, say, the face. If this was chewing gum, it would be controlling the jaw movement and things like that. So while this one is above this one in the timeline here, it's still going to show the face movement moving because this action does not have any keyframes set for those particular bones, if that makes sense. So right now, let me move this out of the way so we can see a little difference there. Right now, he's not moving anything except his head and his arm. Okay. Now, if we move this guy over here, you can see that now his legs are moving because why? Because this action strip moves from the flying position where his feet are kind of up like that to the seated position. So even though this one's on top, this one does not have any keyframes for the feet, while this one does, and you can see you can combine them together. So hopefully that made sense. But when you finish what you're doing in the nonlinear action editor and you export the video, this takes precedence over any of the actions that you might have had loaded, if that also makes sense. Like you do walking and chewing gum at the same time. When you hit render, it's going to render from your nonlinear action editor rather than just one of the single actions that you might have loaded here. So anyways, hopefully that all made sense to you. Feel free to ask questions if it did not. And I think that will cover it on the nonlinear action editor. We'll use this a little heavier later on once we actually start animating. But for now, that's just kind of an intro to show you how it works. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.